Hi, Naomi Suzanne from Naomi's Home Health. Let me just send this invite because I'm going to share with you a lovely lady she's been invited, who was a huge part of my healing and still to this day is very, very supportive of everything. And I learned so much from her while I was healing. So I've sent her the invite. Hopefully she jumps on. And we're going to tell you what she shared with me that changed the way I looked at my healing, because I was always about the physical. And I've always been like that, physically active, wanted to look a certain way physically when I was younger, and, working out and watched what I ate and all of those things. And all I focused on was the physical. Is she coming in? Add. Oh, adding. Here we are.
Hello.
Hello. I'm like, I've done this so many times and I'm still going, is this how I do it? It's like a big secret.
I know, right? Technology changes all the time.
Yeah, and I just can't keep up. I'm still 5 years behind in technology most of the time.
Yeah.
So this is my very good friend, Alana Jackson, and she was, like I said, a massive part of my healing journey, and still to this day, we always lean on each other for support when we need it. And at the time, I was like a mess, and she was one of the only people. I had 2 friends that offered me any sort of help whatsoever other than my mum and dad. And she started to give me like little tips and things, and because I was really focusing on the physical health and I couldn't get that out of my head. And I was like, but I need to lose weight and I'm looking terrible and blah blah blah. And she's like, scrap that idea. Start looking at why you think like that. And that's when I switched, and that's when she introduced me to a women's circle. So wasn't I a little bit skeptical? I was like, I don't want to do that.
Just a tad. Vulnerability, what is that?
So I sat in on one of the women's circles, and we have a topic each week, and these women were going through their breakthroughs, and I was like, oh my God. And when I spoke, I didn't know any of these women except for Lana, and they were like so supportive and understanding and empathetic. And I was like, is this what it's like to have a group of supportive people?
Yeah.
And that's it. It was a sisterhood, and it was how, it wasn't just like we got on there and gossiped. There was none of that. It was actually breakthroughs in healing and unplugging a lot of shit from way back.
Yeah.
So what got you into the women's circle?
Well, for me, many years ago, I had a psychic reading. Funny that. And I remember her saying to me, you need to open your heart to the sisterhood. And so I was very much like you. Sisterhood, I can't trust other women, they're bitches. And didn't, really wasn't open to it. And a friend of mine invited me to come along and sit in one. And I was really skeptical. I was really, I don't know about this, because I was, very masculine woman in that, I'm strong, I'm empowered, I get shit done, and I take all the steps, and I do this and I do that, and look at me. And anyway, I was the same as you. I sat in and kind of went, oh, this is interesting. I'm dipping my toe here, but I'm called to do it. And I thought, okay, well, I've got to go with that. And on that particular night, I remembered that comment by that psychic many years ago saying, you need to open your heart to the sisterhood. And I thought, oh, is this what it is? And so I personally was a bit, it took me a little while as well. And vulnerability at the time for me was a weakness. Like I saw vulnerability as a weakness. And it was like, I can't be vulnerable with this group of strangers. What will they think of me? And so at the time, when I first went into a women's circle, I was very much very concerned with what other people thought of me. And I realize now that that was actually a conditioned way of thinking as well, you know, you don't let people see your weakness, you don't let people in unless you know them and you trust them. But what I also realized is you can't get to know somebody and trust them and build a rapport with them if you don't let them in. And so I think that life deals you many different experiences that kick you up the backside and sit you on your ass and make you go, what have I done to deserve this? And the thing is that at the end of the day, it's not actually about deserving anything. It's about the progression and evolution of who you are and how you get to grow through that progression and evolution. And so, you know, sitting in a women's circle came at the right time for me, in the sense that I was ready to open my heart and ready to open up to who I actually am. But I didn't understand that I really needed that support system for me to do that. And so sitting in that, you know, opening myself up and trusting that I was worthy of that support was another big thing as well, because my self-worth was so crap. You know, behind that facade of the masculine, strong, empowered woman was this very, very scared little girl who didn't know what true support actually was. And this is the thing that I really loved. Oh, the dogs are going to start barking now. This is the thing that I really loved about sitting in that space with women who were all there for their own reasons, but to allow that nurturing and feminine side of who they are come out and support and help another woman to reflect and contemplate where she wants to go and what are her challenges in getting there. And so that's the thing that I found so supportive, is that I could sit in this space and it didn't matter if another woman triggered me or not. And believe me, they triggered the shit out of me sometimes. Like, I'm like, get over it, you know? And then on the other hand, I'd be like, why are you being so judgmental? You know, because what a circle, I find, what a women's circle does is it reflects you. So when you're being judgmental of somebody, what you're actually doing is judging yourself. And so I found that the paradox of, you know, the judgment that I had was actually the judgment I had on myself coming out in another woman was very eye-opening as well. So for me, it was an actual journey. You know, now I formed my, oh, sorry about the dog.
I'm not even noticing. I'm so focused on what you're saying because I'm like, I'm home
by myself and she's in guard mode. So what I found was that, you know, being in that space of, you know, vulnerability and being in that energy of support and nature and nurturing. Of course she barks while I'm on a live feed. She's going off ahead. I think there's been a delivery and I've got someone pinging me wanting me to get on a meeting that I need to do. But anyway, basically sitting in a women's circle allowed me to go from a blossom into a bloom. And now those women that I sat in circle with are pretty much friends for life. They become like sisters. So even when they piss you off, even when you piss them off, there's this element of sisterhood that says, well, what you did wasn't okay. You pissed me off, but I love you. and you see love from a very different angle. You understand forgiveness from a very different angle. And most of the time when you're sitting in that space where you know, a circle sister has given you the shit, you know, 9 times out of 10 she's simply reflecting something in you that you're pissed off about. And I've really learned that, you know. And so it's a journey where you grow, where you evolve, where you expand, where you develop into a space that you never thought was going to happen. But when you trust the process as much as you trust yourself to show up, it starts to actually come together, and you get to move through those challenges with that support of women who genuinely want to see you succeed. And that is not as rare as you think, you know?
I think that was my issue. I didn't trust the process. And it was because I was, like you, very masculine. It was all about the physical. It was all about, like, anyone that showed me any softness, it was like, you know, what are you doing? And I never understood the language of the female side. That, so when I joined doTERRA, that it's a very female, like feminine energy, and the language that people were using, it triggered me. I was like, that's ridiculous. Why do they speak like that? Oh my God, I don't even understand what they're saying. Because instead of just like going with the flow, I was like blocking it. And then obviously Women's Circle, like joining doTERRA, and then the Women's Circle, it was the universe saying to me, Naomi, you need to be in touch with your feminine side a lot more, and you need the balance of the masculine and feminine. And that became my word, was balance. Because I didn't have it, and I thought I did.
We live in a very masculine oriented world. We, you know, globally, I feel that shifting it's shifting very rapidly. But we've grown up and been conditioned into a very patriarchal society where everything is about what you're told to do, or how you're told to do it, how you're told to be, how you're told to show up. We're conditioned to do so many things that are along the masculine lines of taking action, doing the thing. The feminine energy is more about the reflection, the contemplation, the, you know, the creativity, you know. And if you look at the difference between men and women, and this is very generalized, but women are made to procreate. We're made to birth things. Men are made to go out and hunt and provide, you know, and this is our basic biologies. Now, not all men are like that, not all women are like that either. But the thing is that society conditions us to fit into those gender-specific roles. And so when we sit in that gender specificity, we start to really embody that because we've been conditioned to embody it. But society is teaching us to go do the thing, go, you know, and more women these days are working to provide for their children. And that's not a good or bad thing. But more and more women are having to sit in that masculine role of go and do the thing, rather than sit in that space of, but what do I want to do? How do I want to do it? How do I want to show up? What is at the core of me? What is my purpose? I'm a woman, and I'm a mother, and I've got all these things on my plate, and I know I need to do stuff, but I'm not in alignment with this whole masculine go do the thing. So I'm either going to get depressed about it, or I'm going to suppress it, and I'll just put that feminine stuff over there for now because I don't have time for that. And the thing is that when we don't make time for it, what happens is we become out of balance in it. And then what we start to get is masculine wounding as much as feminine wounding. And feminine wounding is where we stop honoring ourselves, we stop honoring our worth, we stop trusting who we are. We stop working with that natural intuition that we are born with, and we start doing the thing, and then we get rejected for that, and then we get hit in the face for that, and then we fail at it, And then, oh shit, hang on a minute, all that rejection, all that smacking in the face and all that failure has now taught me that I can't do the thing. But I don't know how to do anything but do the thing because I haven't honored myself. I haven't trusted myself. I haven't gone into that space of creation. I haven't gone into that space of honoring who I am that is doing the thing. And what I find is that when we sit in circle with women who are supportive of us doing the thing, who are all there for their own reasons, but ultimately embodying that feminine energy of being together in reflection and contemplation, we help each other create. And so those masculine wounds start to heal. And so the feminine wounds start to heal. And we help each other heal through showing up and being present with each other and being honest. And honesty doesn't have to be, well, you were an idiot. Honesty can simply be, which it has been for me at times, you know, but honesty can simply mean, have you thought about this as an alternative? Have you felt into that? Because we don't feel anymore. We don't trust ourselves and our intuition and our inner core anymore. We don't. We're not trained to, we're not taught to, we're not taught in school, we're certainly not taught in the world. And yet it's the one thing that we were born with and always meant to do. And so when we sit in circle with other women who are all there for the same reasons, different circumstances, different reasons for being there, but all at the core wanting to reconnect with that feminine essence of who they are so that they can balance up the masculine they find themselves working with, it starts to create magic within. Because ultimately we all have a uterus and that's the magic. It's the womb space is where we create. And so when we honor the womb space, we honor the femininity that we were naturally born with and always meant to use.
Yeah, you know, and you're right. Like if we think for ourselves or we feel something and we don't go along the norm or the line of society that everyone else is doing, we are ridiculed for that. It's like, why are you thinking that way? This is the way everyone else is thinking. You're here. This is wrong. So you are shut down for having your own thoughts, feelings, you know, doing your own thing. And so we all go, oh, some of us go straight back into that shell and it doesn't come out again. Or some of us go, no, fuck that.
Well, I think we also get into comfort zones too. So we get into this comfort zone of thinking the thing and doing the thing that we were conditioned to do. That can be a comfort zone and that can be really challenging for people to move out of. You know, so when we start to move into that space as well, it's like everything gets stripped back when you're in circle. Everything gets stripped back because other women can see you. And that's the vulnerability piece, is letting other people see you. And vulnerability is not about weakness. Vulnerability is about openness. And if you're willing to be open with yourself, when you're sitting in circle and other women can see you, instead of taking what they have as feedback, as criticism, you can take it as a critique. Because if they see you and they share what they see with you and they share from a loving and supportive space, they're not criticizing you. In telling you what they see, they're actually helping you. And that was the big thing. My ego, I'm 5'5" and my ego was 6'5". So it took a little while for me to take those critiques.
Yeah. Well, I found that it was easier to open up because they were. So it was like, oh, well, you know, and when they would have their share and they would say what it meant to them, it also made things like the cogs turn in my head like, oh, I didn't even think of it that way. So they taught me by them having their breakthroughs, I learned from that as well.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, you know, what they said is right. I should be, it just clicked. And yeah, so the learning that I had from other people, and, you know, if you don't learn from other people and you just think that you can learn all by yourself, well, then you're not going to get as far as you would if you learn from other people, because we all know different things and we all
Yeah.
have different experiences. And
Yeah.
the best thing you can do is learn from other people.
Yep, 100%. I'm going to have to run, my love.
No worries. I just wanted
client.
just to share with everybody like what
Yeah.
you shared with me and what we got out of it, because
Yeah.
it was super important to my healing. Actually changed my thoughts on the
Yeah.
emotional and mental side and spiritual side
Yeah.
of healing, instead of just focusing on the physical, which is what I was doing. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, well, I'm still trying to go to the gym and I'm still playing tennis and I'm eating right. So what the hell's my problem?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it was you that was like, okay, honey, maybe we got to look at it from a different angle.
Yeah. Well, I think if I leave this with your group, words have meaning, and meaning has intention, and intention is how we create energy, and our world responds to the energy that we're working with. So maybe think about that. How are you thinking? How are you speaking? How are you putting it out there? What is the world around you receiving? And then how can sitting in circle support you to grow and evolve in that space?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I've created my own to support all these women and offer them the same sort of thing that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And you create relationships for life. You really do. You can be prickly with them, but they'll still love you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for having me today.
Thanks
It
for
was an
coming
honor
on.
to sit and speak with you and share our experience with your people. And
Yeah,
yeah, if you're considering sitting in that space with Naomi, then I would highly recommend that you really consider it seriously and jump on in, because it will change your life. It really will.
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you lots.
All right, beautiful. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.